Mr. Steel City Scott. How are you doing, sir?
I am never better. Football is back. Everything is right in the world. We've got 8 hours of commercial-free football on Sundays. Um, yeah, I couldn't be in a better place.
Good, good. Because I just want to make sure that you can hear me in the telecenter over there. Okay, we're swapping out the. All right, much better, much better. Now we're talking.
Can you hear
Uh
me?
yes, that's the setup, brother. That's the setup. We love to see
This is.
that.
I'm
That's
just so excited.
fantastic. That's
I'm
fantastic.
pumped. I'm ready.
Uh, so it is a we got week one. It's a little bit different than the college show. We're I'm behind. I'm behind. I'm gonna just say it. I gotta get the NFL graphics going. They'll be there next week. I promise. Till then, you get to look at this lovely slideshow, which advertises when you can see our lovely faces. At the end, I still will have a pick recap that we'll go through, so you'll be able to see all of our picks. Don't worry. But until then, you're gonna have to listen and pay attention. I see y'all in the chat already. Just go ahead and give a
Man,
quick shout out to our people. Rudy, David, Evelyn. Uh, we got Charles too. Go ahead and
Hindu's
talking
hating
trash
already.
about Scott early. We love to see it. Um, it's gonna be a good show. I'm excited, Scott. It's gonna be a good year. How do you feel?
It's going to be a great year. I feel fantastic. I am going to win this year, and I'd like to propose a friendly wager for the season. Maybe we let the
Friendly
chat
wager.
decide what the punishment should be, but I'm in. I'm in on a year-long friendly wager because I'm going to take it this year.
Okay, so I didn't get a picture of it because I was too locked into the game this past weekend at Florida Miami or Miami at Florida or whatever. There was a person like I don't know, 10 o'clock from me in the stands, right? Full football gear on, full football gear. It's 103 out there, heat index, and this dude's in full football gear. And on the side of his helmet, it says, "I suck at fantasy football." So obviously, he was the last one. That was his punishment. I told him when he
Fair.
was leaving, he walked by me. I was like, "You're a trooper, dude. You're a trooper for doing that because it's hot as hell out there." Um, that could be something. I would be
I
willing to
mean,
do that.
I'm already there.
Yeah, you're halfway there.
How are
Look,
you
you got the
doing it?
jersey, you got the helmet. You just
All
need
right,
some
hold on. Let's
pads.
get
You're good to
serious
go.
here.
Yeah, lock in, lock in. What are we doing? It's week one, dude.
It's time
Get
to
real.
lock it
Get
in.
get back in the telecenter.
Whew, that hurt. It's been
Straight
a
out of
while.
Runkaholics over here.
The Bears are winning the Super Bowl. Rudy, you were wrong. You're wrong. We'll get there, but you're just not right.
All right, first game we're going to talk about. It's going to be a little interesting again because we do not have the game graphics yet this week. They will be here next week, so you're just gonna have to follow along. First game we're talking though is Ravens at the Chiefs. It's the Thursday night game. Uh, what a game to lead it off. You know, they had last year, they had Lions versus Chiefs. Lions won. Lions won. And it was at Kansas City, if I remember correctly. Uh, there's a little magic. That's all I'm saying. There's a little magic. And I'm pretty sure, I don't quote me on this because I may be making this up, but I'm pretty sure there is also a consistency with previous Super Bowl winners in the first game of the next following year where they typically do struggle. Um, I think that happens here. I think the Ravens have a really, really good team this year. I think people are sleeping on the fact that they brought in Derrick Henry. He's going to open up. Having a running back like Derrick Henry gives the Ravens the ability to have these kind of lesser name. I won't say no name because they got some studs like Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, um, Mark Andrews. He's kind of on the decline with some injuries, lately, but I think that he's still capable. But the fact that they have Derrick Henry is really going to open that up for Lamar to stretch it out a little bit more. I think the Ravens' defense is going to improve a lot from last year. So I think the Ravens with points here is a gift. Go ahead and give me Ravens +3. What say you, Scott?
No, I'm with you. It's a big game, AFC Championship rematch. I'm with you. Super Bowl winners start slow, but also just all NFL teams start slow offensively. And Kansas City's main weapon is their offense and their ability to score points. They're coming up against a strong defense in the Ravens, and defenses start strong because all you have to do is chase after the ball in the end of things. So I think slow offense meets strong defense here. They're in Arrowhead. It's going to be electric, but the Ravens take it. I think they win outright. I think that it's an easy play to take the points. Mark Andrews, like you said, yeah, he's been banged up a little bit, but they got Isaiah Likely in the back. And they got one of the best fullbacks in the game with Ricard. Don't sleep on him. That's a goal line play right there. That's a touchdown. I also love the fact that they got Derrick Henry. I hate it as a Steelers fan. I'm terrified to play them twice this year. But he's a weapon. He's a monster. He's a refrigerator. So I like the Ravens. Kelsey's coming down from a summer with Swift. He's got to deal with 1 million additional Swiftie followers on Twitter talking to him about nothing that relates to football. So I think he's going to be a little slow to start. I like the Ravens here.
Did you see how much money him and his brother just signed for their podcast? That is
New heights.
Yep. Joe Rogan money right there, dude. That's insane.
And
insane.
They're not on Spotify, right? Or who'd they sign with?
I don't even know. It was like
I think it's like Apple.
I don't think it was like a known. Yeah, I don't think it was like a known streaming service yet. I think it was somebody trying to get into the game. But yeah, crazy numbers for sure. We probably should have saved this one and knocked this one down a little bit, down the totem pole.
Oh, baby.
But let's go ahead and get it out of the way. We got Steelers going to Atlanta. The Pittsburgh Steelers making their way to Atlanta with their new stud of a quarterback, Russell Wilson, right? The former Super Bowl champion, gonna lead the Pittsburgh Steelers back to glory, back to the playoffs, a division victory. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. The only reason I really say that is because I bet Steel City Scott. I made probably the worst bet of my life earlier this year. Just talking shit, and I locked myself into it. It's Steelers under. What was it, like 5.5 wins or some shit?
The over/under is 5.5. I've got the over, and then you also took 2.5 for the division.
The absolute worst bet of my life. I don't know what mindset I was in when he took advantage of me like this, but unfortunately,
you were the one that was like, oh, 5.5, easy bet.
Anyway, well, that was before they went and wheeled and dealed. They got Patrick Queen. They went and got Justin Fields. Anyway, whatever. I actually have the Steelers going 10-7 this year and making the playoffs. So it's really, really, really unfortunate. In this one, however, I have the Falcons. I have them covering this game. I believe the line is 3.5. I have the Falcons getting it done at home. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be massive. Massive, massive, massive for this Falcons offense. You look at Kyle Pitts. You look at Bijan. These are guys that Drake London he didn't really get used the right way. Which, by the way, is y'all's new OC, so we'll see what happens there. There's a little bit of a beef here coming back to old Atlanta, but I think the Falcons are going to open it up a lot more. I think you're going to see him throwing it downfield. Kirk Cousins is going to get Kyle Pitts involved in the game for the first time since he's been drafted. Bijan, they are talking about using him exactly how they should, like a McCaffrey type player. Just feed him, feed him, feed him. I think this one goes the Falcons' way. Something to watch out for, though, is obviously Kirk Cousins is coming back from that injury. Same as Aaron Rodgers with the Achilles. Can he be that same guy that he was last year before he got hurt? Because he had the Vikings clicking and rolling, and then obviously he got hurt, and they had to kind of play with misfit toys a little bit to make things happen. But again, I like Falcons here. Scott, I have a feeling I know which side you're going to go here, but tell me why.
I'm going to tell you why. First off, Hindu, we're going to get to your Panthers problem here in a little bit. I see you in the chat. We'll get there. So first off, here's what I want to say.
We are talking Panthers Saints. Yeah.
Russell Wilson, we all knew he was going to be the starter, right? Tomlin's just playing a game. We knew he was going to start. My guess is he starts 2 weeks to satisfy Russell coming back to the Broncos in week 2. After 2 weeks, I'm guessing we're going to win the first 2 games by 3 points, and it's going to be like a 13-6 game or something like that against Denver. They're going to be close games, defensive games, where I'm not expecting us to go out there and put up 35 points offensively. But I will say We got Najee. We got Jalen. We've beefed up our offensive line with our picks this year. We got George Pickens, and then we'll move on from receivers from now because that's pretty much it. But I think we're going to be able to score some points, scheme some stuff up. I like what we have going on offensively, but I like even more what we have going on defensively. And this is why we're going to win the game. We got TJ back. We just signed Cam Hayward again, another 3 years, but we picked up Patrick Queen. That's a huge pickup for us. And you shake your
Cam
head.
Hayward's going to need a walker by the end of that 3 years.
Hey, there's a reason he's been a top interior defensive lineman for the last 12 years in the NFL. So back to TJ Watt. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Come here.
Kirk Cousins is coming off an injury, and it's going to be tough for him because he's going to be in the ground. I got us at 4 sacks this game because the Falcons have a weak offensive line. They don't know how to use Bijan at all, and I think he's going to get stuffed this game. We got Minka coming back, Joey Porter Jr. coming off a decent year as a rookie. Highsmith, don't forget about Herbig is back, and we also have our pickup this year, Peyton Wilson, who I think he compares himself to Shazier when he came in for us. That's why I got my Shazier jersey on. So I think we're going to be really stout defensively. That's why we're going to win more than 5.5 games, which I still don't know why you took that bet. But I like us. I like us on the road. We don't need to talk about
it anymore. We can move on.
I like us on the road. Take the points for the Steelers. I think we're going to win outright. It's definitely an under game. I would be shocked if we score more than 17 points. But we're going to win because we're going to hold the Falcons to 6 is what keeps going up in my head. I don't know why. So I like us. I'm not biased at all. I just think we're going to win this game.
Fair enough. All right, moving on. We have shout out real quick. I see you, Greg, in the chat. We got a Saints fan there, and we got Henry.
Oh, get out of here,
Charles. Greg. So we got a little Panthers Saints clash going on. It's gonna be good. Can't wait to get to that game. But first, we got Vikings at the Giants. Vikings, they drafted J.J. McCarthy. He was supposed to be the guy kind of taking over for Kirk Cousins this year after all the injuries that they had last year and all the quarterbacks they had to use last year. They thought, let's go get our guy. Nice young body. Pause to go ahead and lead this offense. And then he gets hurt. Now you're stuck with Sam Darnold again. And I heard a guy, I was listening to the radio earlier today, and he could not have described this in any better way. It was a caller. I wish I knew who it was. I would give him the credit. But he basically described Sam Darnold as your child that you give the car keys to, right? You give him the car keys and you're like, hey, you got it. Get from point A to point B. I know you got it. And they wreck the car. And then they come back and they're like, hey, I need another car. And you're like, all right, you know what? Here, take another car. Go ahead, take another car. And then he wrecks it again. And then you're like, all right, here, take another one. Wrecks it again. So how many times is Sam Darnold going to be able to wreck these cars, wreck these offenses before he's finally just kaput? Unfortunately, it might be after this. If you got Justin Jefferson as an offensive weapon out there and you don't get some things done, they're probably going to write you off a little bit. So unfortunately for Sam Darnold, I am writing him off. The good news for him is he has Kevin O'Connell, his head coach. He's a quarterback whisperer. He gets the most out of his guys. That's how you saw it last year with Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins, I think, and a bunch of random names that, they needed to fill that void after Kirk Cousins got hurt. It's gonna take everything he's got to save Sam Darnold's career. Give me the Giants. I'm gonna take Danny Dimes over the Vikings here, and I think Brian Daboll's got this team clicked in. I love the additions they made in the offseason at defense with Brian Burns to complement Kayvon Thibodeau on the other side. They're gonna have some serious pressure on the quarterback. I think that's gonna cause problems, especially against a QB like Sam Darnold. So give me the Giants in this one. Scott, what say you here, sir?
Yeah, you touched on a lot of it. I mean, I think this game's going to be pretty boring, to be honest. Sorry, Minnesota and Giants fans out there, but it's Danny Dimes versus Sam Darnold. All you have going if you're a Minnesota fan, you have Justin Jefferson, but you've got no one to throw him the ball. He's going to get double covered. It's going to be tough to get him the ball. And you've got Aaron Jones, who I think is going to have a great year in Minnesota, but it's going to be tough when they're against stout run defenses. And to your point, you brought
they're
up
going to be jamming it.
New York's got a really good run defense with their pickup of Burns this year too. Malik Neighbors, he looked great in Hard Knocks in the offseason. I mean, I think he's going to be good. He's a rookie. You never know. But Danny Dimes, they don't really have a running back on the Giants side either. Both teams are going to be struggling is what I'm getting at. But I think the Giants have a much stouter defense. And again, takes a while to get your offense going. I think this game early on is going to be the Giants.
Yeah, for sure. What is the I'm actually looking it up now. So the over-under is sitting at 41.5. What do you think about potentially the under there?
I like the under. Both teams, I think, are going to struggle to score. I think it's going to be a really ugly game. Mm-hmm. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be 73 at kickoff right now is what they're predicting. But I like the under there. I think it's just going to be an ugly game.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on here. Getting closer to that Panthers Saints matchup that the chat is so eagerly awaiting here. First, we got Jaguars, the Jacksonville Jaguars, making the trip down to South Florida, take on my Miami Dolphins. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. It's the Dolphins, baby. It's the Dolphins. The offense is too much. All we did was reload on defense. All we did is reload. We brought in Jordan Poyer on the back end to help out Jalen Ramsey. That's going to be a massive, massive addition for us. On offense, we brought back Raheem Mostert. We got Devin Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. We signed OBJ, and he's not going to play. You can mark my words this right now. He is not going to play a single snap for the Dolphins this entire year. It's going to be just like Will Fuller a couple years ago where we signed him. Everybody was like, oh, this is the piece. It's going to be great. Didn't play a single snap because he hurt his thumb or his fingernail or something. He didn't play the entire year. It's going to be the same situation. If you drafted him in fantasy, get ready for the long haul because it's going to take a while. But not in this one, not for the Dolphins offense as a whole. I think they're able to get up on the Jaguars here. Jaguars, I think, are going to compete. I think they're going to have a much better year this year than they did last year in terms of consistency. I just think the Dolphins offense is just going to be too much in this one. I think it's 31-14, 31-21 kind of deal. So give me the Dolphins here. What do you say, Scott?
Yeah, I was on the Dolphins earlier and I started looking at the Jaguars depth chart, and you look at Miami's going to put up 25 points a game. That's just what they're going to do. They're the only offense that's going to start hot this season, and that's just because Tua is just going to lob the ball up to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. He's got so many options. You got two stud running backs coming out of the backfield.
For sure.
You got weapons everywhere. So they're going to put up points. So the question is, can Jacksonville outscore or keep up with Miami till the end and then try to make it a possession game towards the end? I don't know if they can. I mean, they have decent players, Trayvon Walker, they got Campbell, but I just don't know if they have enough defensively to stop Miami and score with them. But once you look at their depth chart, I mean, you got Trevor Lawrence, he's been playing great. You got Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk. Then you got Gabe Davis coming in from Buffalo, who I liked a lot in Buffalo, and I think he's going to be a really good option for Trevor in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr., a lot of people are hot on him looking through the drafts. I don't know which way he's going to go, but a lot of people are calling him a sleeper. Evan Ingram, I mean, they have a decent offensive package. Is it enough to score with Miami? I don't think so. I think Miami takes it. But to your point, I think it's going to be an over game. You had Miami at 31-15-ish. I think it's going to be a 31, 21-24 type game. This one's going to be just a shootout, in my opinion.
Yeah, the over-under total on that one is 48.5.
Yep. Yeah, got to give it to your Dolphins, unfortunately.
Go Fins, baby. Fins up. Fins up. Fins
All right.
up. All right.
Hey, I'm going to lead into this next one because I'm actually very excited to watch this next game. The next game we're going to talk about is the Texans versus the Colts. And it's Texans at the Colts. And why I'm excited about it is I continue to support the Colts, even though they're in they're in the AFC. We never really play each other, except for this year we are playing each other, which we'll get into that in week 5 or 6, I think it is. But my boy Kenny Moore continues to dominate the Colts defense, nickelback. The Colts at home, they have this weird thing where they'll win these games that they're not supposed to win. And it's always something defensively where there's a pick six, a fumble, a tipped pass, tip drill, something like that that goes off of three people. What was it? 2 years ago, you had, or maybe last year, you had Kenny had his back-to-back pick sixes in a game. They have weird stuff like this happen for them and goes their way. So it's almost like I want to lean the Colts, but then you look at Houston, what they did last year, CJ Stroud, they got Diggs. I think Diggs is going to be a distraction for them. But then behind that, Diggs is going to get attention because of who he is. You still have Nico. You still have Tank Dell. They picked up Joe Mixon from Cincinnati. I mean, they are loaded offensively, and they're a scary team. But for some reason, this is one of those games where I think the Colts defense is going to show up. Everything's going to go their way. There's a reason the spread is only 3 points. Someone knows something. I don't know what they know, because to me, this game should be a 7-point spread to Houston. And for whatever reason, it's only 3 right now, which is confusing to me. So I want the Colts. I like the Colts upset here, and I like the 3 points a lot.
Here we go. We got a head-to-head here, Scott. I am on the Texans. I think the Texans are too much. You look at the Colts, all the potential in the world. AR-15 coming back for him. Anthony Richardson coming back from that injury that they, sat him down last year, benched him the rest of the year because they were kind of out of it at that point. But you got to wonder, I mean, he got banged up quick last year with concussions, with leg stuff, with back. I mean, he took some shots. So you got to wonder how long he's going to be able to kind of ride that wave this year if he can stay healthy. Colts could easily make the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. They have a pretty favorable schedule. But that's going to take Anthony Richardson to, 1, stay healthy, and 2, stay consistent, which at times, going back to his time at Florida, he's had issues doing throughout his career, throwing the football consistently down the field, not turning it over. If he can do that this year, now they have some tape on him. Last year, usually kind of rookies in the NFL tend to have a little more success sometimes, especially quarterbacks, than they do in that sophomore year. That's why they call it a sophomore slump. So it'll be interesting to see how teams play Anthony Richardson this year. If they try to force him to run a little bit more, if they try to force him to pass. It'll be very, very interesting. I think, unfortunately for them, they're running into a buzzsaw right now. The Texans are stacked on both sides of the ball. You mentioned it. Their defense especially, that's the head coach, DeMeco Ryans. That's his forte. That's where he lives. That's where he loves to eat and make his money. So I look for the Texans to win this one. I think they started off in a big way, especially with it being a division game. It's a rival. It's something where they really need to win this one to kind of get them to that next level, to get them into that AFC Championship game, playing for a shot at the Super Bowl. This one's important. So give me the Texans on the money line here, Scotty.
See, there's a reason you're taking money line and not -3. It's because there's so much hype. There's just, this game is a clear, easy walk into Indy, win the game, go back home to Houston, done and done. Shouldn't be a problem. And I think they're going to come out. They're going to be too aggressive offensively, and they're going to run into a pick six or an important, towards the end of the game, they're going to have a fumble, a pick. Something is going to not go their way because of it.
I could see that. I could see even maybe like a 24-23 type of game where like there's a BS cover, I could see that way. Yeah, for sure. Especially that's the thing with these week 1 games too. You notice there's no spread in the double digits, whereas 4 weeks from now, maybe even 2 weeks from now, we're gonna see double digit spreads pretty consistently each week. But right now, kind of everybody is still gauging kind of what teams we're gonna get. Everybody's got an idea, but you never know until they actually put the pads on. So, moving on here, Scott. We got Tennessee Titans taking on the Chicago Bears. You want to lead off with this one?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the hype of Hard Knocks, the excitement of seeing a team from behind the scenes, the excitement of not seeing anything negative. You're seeing all the good plays. They had a great preseason,
right,
but it's preseason, right? You're playing against other people competing to make a team, but they got Caleb Williams. They got a Dunze. They've got some players on their team. I like the fact that they picked up Swift. I think that's going to be a resurgence for him. I think it's going to be really good for him. They've got great players all around. They got a decent defense. What's their cornerback's name? I forget his name. Johnson, last name. Can't remember his name, but he's great.
Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson. So they've got a good team. Last year, they had a good team for the amount of talent they had offensively. And now they've stacked up on offense. They've kept the majority of their defense. They should be a good team this year, but I'm trying to control myself in the hype of Hard Knocks, and that's the first football you get to consume as a fan, so you get excited. On the other side, you have the Tennessee Titans. You know, they lost pretty much their most productive player in Derrick Henry. So, yeah, they picked up Spears. They've got Pollard, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to carry their team. They're kind of in like a void, if you will. I'm going to call it a void, the Titans. They've always been in a void, but they had Henry to lean on. But they got Will Levis as their quarterback. They got Mason Rudolph, who I know plenty about, backing him up. I just don't see – I mean, Calvin Ridley's probably my favorite player on their team. Hopkins is Hopkins, but he's like 40. So I just don't think they have much going for them right now. They have a decent defense, but give me the Bears. Give me the hype. Give me Caleb Williams. Give me the rookie connection. Keenan Allen, he put on 20 pounds. I want to see it. Give me the Bears. I think the Bears are going to find a way to win a scrappy Week 1 game.
Yeah, you mentioned Keenan Allen. It's going to be really interesting to see, he's going from the Chargers, where he's been the consistent number one guy for years, dating back to when Phillip Rivers was there. Now he's going into a Bears wide receiving core, which is stacked. Frankly, you got him, you got DJ Moore, you got Rome Odunze, you got Cole Kmet at tight end, who's going to be fighting for receptions. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be – nobody's going to be able to say that the number one overall pick didn't have weapons this year around him.
It's also a lot of pressure.
Make things happen, I think. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's expectations, 100%. It is not – he's not stepping into the role like Bryce Young down in Carolina, right? Where, he's literally walking into a buzzsaw and just is expected to smile through it, right? Like, hey,
like the jab.
Go enjoy. Good
luck, buddy.
So, yeah, have fun. Lead your team, bud. It's not that way for Caleb. They've put guys around him to try to be successful sooner than later, especially with their coach. You see it on Hard Knocks. You mentioned it, Eberflus. It's kind of do or die time for him. He's not really going to get maybe much longer than this year to get it right. We thought maybe last year was going to be the year that he was going to be gone. They're giving him one more year, I think, here with Caleb to see if there's really progress being made or not. Like you said, Hard Knocks, it's hard not to go for these teams when you watch them because, like you said, you get all the positive.
Yeah, you're invested.
You're getting all the good reactions. You're getting the guys sitting there in warm-ups talking about Love Island and stuff. You're like,
singing,
look at these guys.
They're putting on the rookie shows. I mean, you get it behind the scenes.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. The Bears. I want to put on a Chicago hat right now.
The Bears.
However, Scott, they are going against the Titans, and nobody's giving the Titans any kind of love, any kind of credit.
Nope.
Will Levis can chuck that thing, all right? I think he's going to get over 4,000 yards passing this year. Book it. Okay?
Book it.
That's my Steph Curry shot right there, all right? I'm shooting from half court a little bit. Thank you. I appreciate that. Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, they are obviously two guys to look out for, especially if you're playing fantasy football. They're going to get a lot of targets. But I don't think people are talking enough about this Titans defense, and that's where I'm at with it. Titans defense, I think, is going to be a little bit shocking to folks. I think they're going to do enough to rattle Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams has looked good in Hard Knocks. He's looked good in practice. It's going to be a little bit different, I think, once things start to happen. They're playing in Soldier Field. That wind is blowing. It's 20 miles per hour.
He's going to be nervous,
I think the Titans are going to get it done, though. I think the Titans are going to get it done.
Not getting nervous. he's going to be nervous. You're a rookie NFL
Oh
game.
yeah.
He's going to get
How
nervous. He's
how
going to
how
try to
can you
play it
not?
off.
How
Yeah,
can
so
you
it'll be
not?
interesting to see. To your point, everything's beautiful in Hard Knocks. It's the first bit of football we get to see.
Yeah.
As a fan, you don't care. You're just consuming it. You're eating everything. You love every single person you see,
Yeah.
and you get excited. And it's hard not to play into that. But no, another one that we're not on the same page.
Yeah, unfortunately. But that's good. That's good because there's a lot of these that we are on
Yep.
the same page for. So,
Yep.
we need some good head to head here. So I
Mm-hmm.
see Travis in the chat. Appreciate you watching,
It's
bud. We are
time.
actually it's perfect timing. It's perfect timing, Travis. Let's go ahead and get to it. We got the Carolina Panthers taking on the New Orleans Saints. We got Travis. I know we got Charles in here. They're both Panthers. We got our guy Greg. He's a Saints fan. So this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. I'm really just going to keep it short and sweet. There's no way the Panthers are winning this game. There's no way the Panthers are covering this game. This game is not going to be close. It's going to be 31-9. It's going to be atrocious. In New Orleans, it's not going to happen. The Panthers didn't do enough in the offseason to really make a difference. They may win an additional 3 games this year. This ain't one of them. It's not going to happen. The Saints by a million. Lock it in. I just don't see any way that Carolina gets it done here. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, this is an irrelevant game in week 1. I won't be paying attention to it. This is a free bye week for the Saints. This is an easy Saints win. And it's tough to say that when everyone's saying that, but it is. This is the Panthers, to me, they just have no chance. I mean, they got Bryce Young, not a bad player. They got Chuba at the running back. I mean, he's okay. They picked up Deontay Johnson. Let me tell you something. That guy's going to drop a touchdown pass this week, and he's going to drop 3 other passes in the middle of the field. And then they're relying on Adam Thielen. He's like 45. So, I just don't know what they're going to do to put points up, and you need points to win the game. And the Saints have ways to score. They got Olave, they got Kamara. Derek Carr is going to be slinging it. I mean, they've got a decent offensive line, and their defense is stout per usual. So I think you said it best. Keep it straight forward. This is an easy Saints win. I think it's going to be a dominant win. I see the chat is moving up and up with Travis and Hindu's comments. They know it. They know what's happening.
I mean, it's
It's
don't
unfortunate. I wish I
overthink
could
this
pull
one.
for you.
It's
I
Saints.
wish I could pull for you guys. I mean, you're my friends. I want your teams to be successful, but it's just not happening.
Yep, not this time. Not yet. All right, moving on. We got 5 games left here. We got the Raiders. We're getting to some good ones here now. We're getting to some good ones. We got Raiders taking on the Chargers in Jim Harbaugh's first year. I don't know. I was very, very locked in on Chargers, Harbaugh, hardball. He went and got a tackle with his first pick, making a statement, building up those trenches. Went and got his, Joe Thomas type guy. Are they there yet? Are they gonna use Herbert the way that they should, or is it gonna be classic Harbaugh where he's grounded, running the ball, keeping it on the ground? The good news for the Chargers is they have J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards in that backfield now, 2 former teammates of the Baltimore Ravens, which, oh, by the way, is coached by Jim Harbaugh's brother, John Harbaugh. So you think that Jim maybe knows these guys a little bit from being around the Ravens organization maybe over the years when he was still with Michigan, and maybe getting some intel from his brother John a little bit. I think so, and he's got some dogs behind J.K. and Gus, especially if they can stay healthy. I think that the Chargers are going to get this one. I love the Raiders and what they're doing and the attitude that Antonio Pierce has brought back into that organization. It's exactly what the Raiders needed, and I'm glad that they hired him back and didn't replace him after making him the interim. But they're not there yet. They're a couple pieces away. Specifically at quarterback, Gardner Minshew is exactly what you think he is. He's going to get you 8 wins, maybe 10. That's kind of like his ceiling, I see it as. So if you want to try to play that wild card game to get in, Minshew gives you a chance. But in terms of winning the division or something like that, or really making a run to the Super Bowl, I think they need a quarterback. They need, maybe Aaron Rodgers to go back and link up with Davante Adams if this year doesn't work out in New York, because the New York media is going to let Aaron Rodgers have it if it doesn't work out this year in New York. You bet on that. But I like the Chargers here, Scott. I think that they're going to do enough. I think really it comes down to defense, and I think Harbaugh's going to have that defense ready to go. So give me the Chargers, especially at home. Raiders are going to pack that thing out. They always do. It's kind of their home away from home down in L.A., but I think the Chargers find a way to get it done in this Harbaugh era. What say you, sir?
Yeah, this is another one we agree on, and I think to your point, Vegas is heading into the old Oakland Vegas days and what they were and what they meant, what they stood for. They're just not there yet. Gardner Minshew mania. That's a come in for 3 weeks, win 2 out of the 1 games. People get pumped, and you go back to being a backup. I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's going to carry the team for the year, and they're just kind of lacking offensive scoring talent, in my opinion. Zamir White, Davante Adams, of course, Jacoby Myers, they're going to lean on heavily after Adams, and then Trey Tucker. I mean, they got Brock Bowers. Is he going to be as dominant as he was in college? I don't know. We'll find out. He's a rookie, but I doubt it. I think he's going to be good, but he's not the missing piece. They're still missing a piece or two. And then to your point, the Chargers have a lot of hype around him. They got their new head coach. He's a football guy through and through, which I love. Herbert, they took the Ravens backfield, which you mentioned, which to me, having his brother as their coach, it gives insight into what they like. Like, you're not telling me they sat down over a beer and talked about what do these guys like? Where's their scheme? Where do they fit? Where have they been successful? What do they want to see? So he's starting ahead. He doesn't have to learn all the, new players, nuances of these 2 players coming over. He's definitely got the insights there. Palmer's, he's not bad. Ladd's coming in. So I think that they're going to be pretty good. Like you said, they took Alt. So we'll see if he turns out to be the stud that he is. And then, of course, on the defensive side, they got Bosa, they got Mack, they got Derwin James, veterans of the game that come ready to go week 1. So give me the Chargers here. I think that they're going to dominate this game.
All right. I like it. All right, moving on here. We got 4 left. We got Denver Broncos making the trip out to Seattle to play the Seahawks. Obviously doesn't mean quite as much because Russell Wilson is no longer in Denver, so you don't have that clash
they're still
there. But
they're still paying him $39 million to play for us. But yeah.
Yeah, that was a mistake by old Sean Payton. But here, go ahead and take it away, Mr. Scott, our Denver native here.
Yeah, so everyone is losing their mind here in town, and it's the same thing as Caleb Williams with Hard Knocks. Bo Nix went out, looked great in the preseason, which, okay, I commend you. You looked great in a preseason NFL game. You're playing against high-level talent, but you are not playing against a full starting defense in the NFL, and it's going to be a lot faster. They know what they're doing. If you check a play in the preseason, the defense might not be able to react fast enough. They might not see it. But on week 1, they're going to see it. It's going to be fast. They're going to bring different schemes at you. It's going to be a lot going on. I think Bo Nix is going to be good in Denver. I really do. But he's not going to be as good as he was in the preseason. But they're going to Seattle. It's a tough place to play. They've got a decent squad in Seattle. They're competitive every year. You've got Metcalf, who for me has been a pickup in all my fantasy leagues. Geno Smith plays great. Kenneth Walker, not bad. Metcalf, Lockett, they're veterans that put up steady numbers. So I like Seattle here. I like Seattle -6 here. I think it's going to be too much for the Broncos to handle game 1. I do think the Broncos aren't going to be horrible, but I think Seattle kind of throttles them at home. I think it's going to be too much for the rookie, and they're just not going to get it done offensively.
Yeah, I'm with you again. I like the Seahawks in this spot. I think they're going to be too much on offense, just like you said. The Broncos just paid Patrick Surtain. He's got like $77 million guaranteed coming his way, but he's not enough. Broncos need some more. They need some more weapons on the defensive side of the ball for Sean Payton. I think a lot of people are overlooking, though, the fact that Sean Payton loves to run the football. And Javonte Williams coming off an injury, I think a lot of people have forgotten what he can do on the ground and what he was doing before he got hurt. I think he's going to be a big, big part of this Broncos offense. I think he's going to open it up for Bo Nix a little bit to buy him some time. Bo Nix is good. Don't get me wrong. He was voted captain by the Broncos. He just got there. He's voted captain. He was in a quarterback battle with Zach Wilson. He won it out. He is their guy moving forward. They're banking on him to perform. My worry is his health. Can he stay on the field? Can he stay healthy? I think he's going to provide some sparks and he's going to provide some hope to Broncos fans this season. Maybe even in this game. But I don't think it's going to be enough. 12th man in Seattle, that's tough to beat as a rookie quarterback. Like you said, it's different. It's faster. It's more physical. These guys are bigger. So it's something that he's going to have to look out for. And I just think it's going to be too much this first week. So give me the Seahawks to cover. I'm with you. I think they get it done at home. All right. Moving on now, we got the Washington Commanders making the trip down to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. Scott, what say you here, sir?
Yeah, so I do like the Manders. I think they've got a decent team. Jaden Daniels, mobile quarterback. Scary Terry, reliable. They got Ertz, which I forgot about, and then I was just checking out the depth chart, and I forgot they picked up Bobby Wagner. So he's veteran, gives a veteran presence to a defense that needs it. They're a good team, but I just don't think they're quite there yet. I think they're going to be competitive in more games this year than we expect them to. It's going to be, I kind of compare them to the Colts. Right. There's always that. The Colts, to me, are not a team that you can ever go into that game and be like, the Colts are going to lose this game hands down, like the Panthers. We said the Saints are going to go and roll over the Panthers, and there's not a doubt in my mind that I'm okay saying that. But I don't think I'll ever say that against the Colts, and I think the Commanders are kind of getting there. But they're going to Tampa Bay. For me, Tampa Bay, they have a much better team than the Commanders on paper. I mean, they're being led by Baker Mayfield, who had a good season, but let's see if he can do it again before we dive in on him. But Ricard White, Mike Evans, veteran, Godwin, veteran. They've got Tristan Wirfs, one of the best tackles in the game, but they also have a guy on the defensive side that when you're running a play, in the basics of running a football play, you have an A gap, a B gap, a C gap, and then outside a D gap. They've got a guy on the side of the ball. I don't care how old he is. He deletes the A gap. It's non-existent. His name's Vitave. You just can't run towards him. There's nothing to do there. There's just a massive pile of meat that blocks up, and you can't run there. It takes away an option. And I bet from a play calling position, you have to consider him when you're scheming up a run play. So I think Tampa Bay they just have more talent, and they have more veterans that will keep them composed for this week 1 game. So I like the Bucs to cover here. I'm not fully in on Baker yet. I know he got a contract, but give me the Bucs. I think they're going to take the Commanders, but it's going to be a closer game than we think.
Yeah, this one is probably the one that I kind of went back and forth with on the most. I'm not really sold quite yet on either one of these teams. But like you said, I'm kind of just banking on kind of past performance a little bit. And I am on the Bucs side. But again, I mean, I could definitely see for exactly what you mentioned, the Commanders are becoming one of those teams where you just kind of can't ever count them out. They kind of just compete and win games that they have no business winning and competing in, and then they kind of sometimes lose the games that they are supposed to compete and win in. So their consistency, that's really been the biggest problem, but a lot of that inconsistency came from the quarterback position and Sam Howell. He had a ton of interceptions last year, a lot in the red zone, multiple interception games. I mean, he really put his defense and his offense in tough positions last year. So that's something that I think is a massive difference. As long as Jaden Daniels can come in and run this offense, not do too much, stay within the system, use the weapons that he has. I mean, Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. I mean, they got weapons at the Commanders. You mentioned the defense, Jonathan Allen. They got guys on both ends. Bobby Wagner. They've brought in pieces to kind of get them potentially competing in that division with Philly. So it really just depends on what Washington team shows up. That's what it comes down to. I don't know who we're going to get yet. That's why this game, really for both teams, is such a good matchup, because it's a good test for both sides to really kind of give us an idea of who we're dealing with or what we have for the rest of the year. I'm with you. I like the Bucs. I think Mike Evans is ultimately going to be too much, and Vita Vea is going to shut down that inside run game. So Washington's going to have to get creative. If they use Daniels on the outside, if they use Eckler, in the flats kind of deal, I could see them definitely having success. This one I kind of look at maybe for the under too, Scott. What do you think on that maybe?
I don't hate it, but the worry is there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent out there. So the worry is, could there be 14 or 21 points in the last 8 minutes of the game, including a garbage touchdown? Yeah, there definitely could be. It could be
100%.
So that's what scares 100%. Me. The over under is, you just don't. Uncertainty on these teams and what they can do. That's what scares me. But you said something very interesting. You said that they're missing like one more piece and they're going to be competing with Philadelphia in the division. Did I hear that right?
I may have said that, and I'm high on Philly. We have shows in the past where we were doing NFL Pick'em. I had the Eagles flying high, baby.
Yes.
However, they've slipped up against teams that they should have no problem playing, including these Commanders. I mean, I remember Taylor Heineke when he was playing, for the Commanders as quarterback. They were already out of the playoffs. Ron Rivera kind of fighting for his job. He kind of was just lingering. But I remember Heineke, man, he got some new Jordans. That's his ritual for when he beats a team. He gets new shoes in the color of the teams that he beat. I remember he was kicked up at the next press conference with some green Jordans. So, the Commanders are definitely a team that they really are. You put another couple pieces. I don't know if they're one piece away. That may be stretching it. But you put a couple guys in there that have some experience in veteran locker rooms, have some experience getting over that next level, getting to these AFC Championship games, winning these divisions, winning these rivalry games that are so important. I think that they do have a chance, and they have a lot of potential moving forward. They got a lot of young talent on that team, so it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm with you, Buccaneers. But again, this one I was really back and forth with for a long time. So not too sure about it, honestly. Two left here, Scott. Two left. We got two of probably the bigger games of the weekend, I would have to say. We got Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams heading back to Detroit for round 2, as you said to me earlier, to take on the Detroit Lions. They played in the playoffs last year. Obviously, the Lions got the best of the Rams in that one. Now Matt Stafford is going back to get another crack at them. The biggest thing for me, ultimately, I'm on the Lions. I'm just going to say it so we can go ahead and move on from mine. Lions are too much. Too much on offense, too much on defense. Rams lost Aaron Donald, so they lost their leader. They lost a irreplaceable piece in that defensive line and that defense as a whole. It's just going to be too much of a problem to overcome. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Lions much, and that means that their offense is going to have to keep up with the Lions. And while the Rams' offense is good, don't get me wrong, they have weapons: Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, now Blake Corum, the running back that they drafted out of Michigan. I just don't think it's going to be enough. The Lions are going to put it on them. Dan Campbell has no problem running up the score if he needs to and putting his foot on your throat a little bit. I think that happens here. I think the Lions are able to pull away. It's probably a close game early, but I think the Lions are able to pull away in the second half. I like the Lions to cover. and get this one done. Scott, what do you think here?
I think that the city of Detroit will be eating a lot of kneecaps. Um, Jared Goff for me is the you touched on a lot of the pieces. I think Detroit is what we were just talking about. Washington, Detroit is that team that went full circle. They rebuilt. They got young players. They
Absolutely.
developed players. They had a year where they won a couple of games, seemed dangerous, but they weren't there yet. And then last year they come in. They look like a team, a well-rounded team at all positions. They're bringing basically everyone back. They're going to be a team to watch for. They're actually my pick to win the Super Bowl this year. I know people are going to be like, I'm crazy, but they are my pick to go all the way this year. You forget Jared Goff is Jared Goff, and a lot of people just put him on the back burner. He's Jared Goff. Last year, he threw for over 4,500 yards, 30 touchdowns with only 12 picks. He's got weapons.
Yep.
Jamison Williams, he's going to have a fantastic year. Amon-Ra, he's going to be – I've got him as my offensive player of the year this year. So I think they're well-rounded. They've got a great offensive line. Laporta showed up last year. They're going to use him even more. They've got a great offensive line led by Panay. They've got Hutchinson. I hate that he does that stupid eye thing, but he's good at football. He has a presence on the side. He's not TJ Watt, but he's not bad. I just think that they're a very well-rounded team. Detroit is now in the category, in my opinion, of the Kansas Cities, the Baltimores. They're a scary elite team that you have to prepare for every week. No matter what, you're going to have a fight in your hands to the last second. To your point, it's that Detroit Stafford, round 2 game. Last time they played, it was 24-23. Lions barely pulled it off. I think the Lions, like you said, close game. They pull away at the end. Give me the Lions. It's too much. The Rams are a good team. I think they're going to have a successful season, but the Lions are just going to take it. They just have too much going for them.
Yeah, I agree. All right, last game of the week. Prime time, Monday night. Real quick, just want to say thanks to everybody that's been watching so far. Appreciate everybody hopping in the chat. It's been awesome to see y'all conversing over there. We do see all of it, so we really appreciate y'all hopping in there. It's awesome to see. But last game, again, we have the New York Jets taking on the San Francisco 49ers. You got Aaron Rodgers going home to the Bay, where he has had success against the 49ers in the regular season, but he's never beaten them in the postseason when it matters. But this is the regular season, Scott. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to find some success. He's been chomping at the bit for some football forever now. I think he's going to come out. He's going to throw. I don't know if you're going to get a 300-yard game out of Aaron Rodgers. I think you could look for 200, maybe 210 kind of deal. But I do think you're going to get a couple touchdowns. I don't think you're going to get a lot of turnovers. And you're going to see a lot of Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall is going to have some success on the ground against this 49er defense. And ultimately, I'm not really sold that McCaffrey is going to be injury-free this year. Supposedly he's already been fighting a calf strain for quite some time now throughout training camp and preseason. So it'll be interesting to see, how healthy he is moving forward, because San Francisco is a completely different team when he is not on the field. So ultimately, I think the Jets find a way to get this one done. I don't know if they're going to win the game, but I think they do keep it close. I think their defense is going to come to play. The Jets' defense is stout. They match up very well in terms of the 49ers' offense, but vice versa. 49ers' defense matches up against the Jets' offense. So I look for this one to probably go under. If I had to pick one for the total, I think under is definitely the way to go. But give me the Jets. 4.5, I think, is just maybe 2 points too many. So I'm on the Jets here. Scott, what say you, sir?
Yes, another head-to-head for us. I'll start with what you ended with. 4.5 points is a lot. So for me, I'm taking San Francisco money line because 4.5 is a lot. I think that this is going to be a defensively driven game.
Money line at 4.5. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I think this is,
what is that, like a minus 250?
Hey, that's where I'm comfortable, because on the other side of the ball you have Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think he is as prepared as he has been in the past, because he took a year off and he's about to play a defense that is full of athletic freaks. To your point, the Jets are the same way. They are loaded defensively. So this game, I think, is going to be low scoring. It's going to be tough to get yards, tough to get points. I do not agree with you that Breece Hall is going to run all over this defense. I do not see it happening. They have Javon Hargrave, who I love. He played for us for a little bit. They got Nick Bosa. They got Fred Warner,
South
who can
Carolina
cover
State
sideline.
guy.
Yep, sideline to sideline, coverage with Fred Warner. Their defense is good. I do not see anyone running all over them. It'll be I think this game's going to is a must watch. I'm excited to watch it because I don't know which way it's going to go. I'm going to lean towards, for me, the better team on paper, which is the 49ers. I think they have more weapons. They're going to come out, and I think they're just going to win the game by enough. Rodgers could do anything. I just don't think he's going to be the Rodgers we're used to seeing. He's coming back from over a year off of football. I hope he makes it more than 5 plays into this season, but he's older, and that means it's harder to recover. He's out there doing ayahuasca, which, hey, go open your mind. That's cool with me. I don't care. But his Achilles, at the age he is at, I don't think he's just going to have the same physical attributes he's had in the past. And he's going to be running from Nick Bosa, Fred Warner's. He's going to have to make quick decisions. I think it's going to be too much for him coming back. And that's, for me, the key in this game. And I think it's going to be close, and it's going to be a low-scoring game. But give me the 49ers here.
Valid points. I like that. All right, let me throw up the recap here, and then we can go ahead and call it for the week, brother. All right, recap. So we're both on the Ravens taking on the Chiefs. I'm on the Falcons versus the Steelers. You are on the Steelers, of course. No bias, of course.
Absolutely not.
We're both on the Giants versus the Vikings. We're both on the Dolphins versus the Jaguars. Again, no bias. I'm on the Texans. You are on the Colts. We're both on the Titans versus the Bears. We're both on the Saints versus the Panthers. We're both on the Chargers versus the Raiders. We're both on the Seahawks versus the Broncos. And we're both on the Buccaneers versus the Commanders. And then last but not least, we got 2 head-to-heads, which is good because we agree on a lot. So we need some movement here in these records after week 1. We got to get a medal on the board here, Scott. We got to get a medal. We got Lions and Rams. I'm on the Lions. You're on the Rams. And we got Jets, 49ers. I'm on the Jets. You are on the 49ers. Anything you want to throw in there, sir, before we sign off for week 1?
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out for the people. I know what I said about Kansas City, but I like Travis Kelce. I have him to score anytime, and I have him to score 2 touchdowns Thursday night. Why not us?
Okay.
Why not us? If anyone's going to score in that team, it's going to be Kelce. Yeah, that's my.
I'm gonna throw one back at you. Anytime Derrick Henry, maybe a little Kelce, maybe a little Kelce Henry, same game there maybe.
I like it. I like it a lot.
We might have to do something with that. All right. Well, Thank you to everybody that was watching. We really appreciate it as always. You can catch us here every Wednesday night around 9 p.m. Eastern. It'll be right after we finish the college show with Gator Dave before. But thank you again for watching. It was awesome. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out. And we will see you next week. Thank you, Scott.
Appreciate it. See you, Miami.